Florence, with a population of around 383,084, is the most populated and the capital of the Tuscan region. Located just 145 miles away from Rome, this region is one that is bound to keep your heart if you plan on visiting anytime soon. Surrounded from all sides by beautiful hills, ample farms, orchards, villas, and vineyards, this capital not only has a natural beauty but a huge amount of architectural charm and historical significance as well. Founded back in 1865, this location has been around since the time of the Romans, yet even today, tourists and visitors can't seem to take their eyes off the different landmarks and tourist spots. For someone traveling to this place for the first time, it can be quite challenging to visit all the important places in a limited time being. Unfortunately, for all of you, we are back again with a video to help you pinpoint the top places to visit and why you should check them out. Before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one. And now the first place to visit in Florence. Number 1. Uffizi Gallery. Starting off this list, we have one of the most important galleries in not just Florence but the whole world. While it is true that Rome and Italy are filled with different museums housing important artifacts and museums, this one triumphs them all. The Uffizi Gallery has been known as the place where some priceless pieces are housed. This includes work by Michelangelo, Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and tons of other famous arts that have ruled the world of art. Not just paintings, but the Uffizi Gallery is also widely known and visited for its architectural structure. For housing such important pieces, it was crucial that size be spacious as well. This is why the museum covered an area of around 8,000 square meters. To put this into perspective, let's just note one thing, that other traditional museums usually have around 20 to 25 rooms, while this one has a total of 45 rooms. Not just the most important, but it is also the oldest museum in history, because it was opened for the public back in 1591. This gallery shouldn't be hard to locate for tourists. Keeping in mind its importance, to give an idea of the significance of its location, it is situated in the same building that was created by Cosimo I de' Medici. Upon further inspection, interested individuals might notice that the structure and architecture of Uffizi Gallery are very similar to the old Florence style of design, with different arches indicating the traditionality. There is a lot of space for the sober setting. Even the name of the gallery indicates the old charm that it holds. The word Uffizi refers to the places that were created to give a home to offices, or as one would call in the local language, the uffici. Thanks to the designing done by Buontalenti, this museum also holds some of the most priceless and stunning collection of Medici, which includes different jewels, scientific instruments, and paintings, etc. Number 2. Ponte Vecchio. What all tourists and visitors to Florence should come to terms with is that this place is a heaven of history and architectural charm. Among the other wonders, one such wonder that it displays proudly is the Old Bridge. This old bridge is famously known as the Ponte Vecchio and is one of the most important locations not just in Florence but in all of the Tuscan regions. This bridge might look glorious and magnificent from far away, but we would like you to know that it is even more stunning when you take a walk across it. The best part about this bridge is that it can be hidden in plain sight. While surely it is a big bridge open for display for all, it often tends to not look like a bridge because of the amenities one would find on top of it. Right on the top of the bridge, there's a huge line of kiosks and shops that contain various objects to entice tourists. The one element of the bridge that makes it unique is the fact that it doesn't just serve as a bridge. Over time, it has served to multiple purposes, like being a road, a market, and even a beautiful scenery. Similar to how today it houses different shops, back in the 14th century it used to do the same for individuals back then. There used to be a huge crowd of fishmongers and butchers, etc. on this bridge, who would showcase their offerings to the passerby. However, the history wasn't kind to these sellers, as the Grand Duke Ferdinand I had these sellers evicted to give the place a cleaner vibe. Right in between some of the shops, there are wide terraces which give a mesmerizing view of the river. There is also a fountain built here with a statue. Back in the old days, lovers used to visit the location, attach locks to the statue, and toss the key in the river for eternal love. Number 3. Michelangelo's David. Now we are pretty sure this is one landmark that requires no introduction from our end. Termed as one of the greatest and most magnificent pieces of the period of Renaissance, the Michelangelo's David was initially said to be placed in the famous cathedral, but with time it was realized that it held a lot more importance and deserved to be placed in the city square. This famous art that is known all over the world for its wonder and immaculate creation was completed by Michelangelo in just 3 years when he was not even 30. It was this exact piece that made the world realize what a treasure he was to the world of sculptures and art. Because of the huge size of sculptures, the locals often refer to it as a giant. This referring to it as a giant is not a new phenomenon and has been quite common ever since 1504. This was the time when it was first introduced to Florentines. Back then, this sculpture truly came as a surprise to the people, not just because of its size, but because it was completely nude as well. Back in the old days, if anyone wanted to take a look at the David, they would have had to go to the Piazza del Signoria, which is one of the most crucial squares of the entire city. The officials and people responsible for the sculpture have gone to great measures to keep it safe. Back in 1872, there were a lot of risks related to David, and to ensure security, it was decided that David will be moved to the Academy Gallery. To place it there, special construction work was done and a special room was created for David. Also, it was decided that a copy of it will be situated in the original place. That is the Piazza del Signoria. Add this to your Florence bucket list and make sure not to miss out on this stunningly important piece. Number 4. Florence Cathedral. On number 4, we have for you the Florence Cathedral. Anyone well versed with the architecture and history of Europe would be aware of the fact that cathedrals hold an important place. The same is the case for Florence Cathedral. It is one of the top attractions in all of Italy and should not be missed out on. At first glance, the one thing that leaves your jaw hanging is the size of this cathedral. The huge size of the location when complemented with the Giotto's bell tower and the baptistry makes it even more intimidating and big. To put things more in perspective, today the Florence Cathedral is known as the 5th largest cathedral in the whole world. At the time of the creation in the 1400s, there weren't as many cathedrals, and hence it was the biggest in all of Europe back then. One of the greatest architects of the history of Italy, Arnolfo di Cambio, was given the responsibility to design and head of the construction. At this period, Arnolfo was responsible for working on both the cathedral and the Palazzo Vecchio building. To thank him for all his work on the architecture of the capital, it was decided by officials that all tax payments will be waived for him. This cathedral, like all others, is considered to be an homage. Called the Santa Maria of the Flower, it even has a clover-like effect to its design, with 3 flowers or petals opening up in one area. The construction of the cathedral took ages, and in this period, Arnolfo passed away as well. The exterior has different colors of marble include red from Siena, white from Carrara, and green from Prato. The dome of the building is pretty special as well, 90 meters high. It has a total of 55 windows with stained glass, out of which 44 have beautiful works painted on them. Number 5. Giotto's Bell Tower. Anyone paying attention to our description of the Florence Cathedral might have noticed how we mentioned Giotto's Bell Tower. Well, we want you to know that this is a crucial landmark in the history of Florence and requires its point. Similar to all other spots on our list, this bell tower too has a lot of historical significance attached to it. It is also one of the oldest sites in Florence, as the construction for it had begun back in 1334. The construction for this bell tower was being done in the same piazza as the cathedral, but at this time the construction of the cathedral had not been completed. The most surprising fact about this bell tower is that it took around 25 years for the construction of it to come to an end. Giotto, the one after whom the tower is named, was only involved in the construction for 3 years. Yet the city held him in high regard. As such, an important building was named after him. Giotto had an amazing plan for how it should turn out to be, but unfortunately for him, he died only when the tower was in the phase of laying the foundation. However, it is safe to say that if Giotto were alive today, he would be glad to view the beautiful construction, including the white, green, and red marbles that grace the tower. This tower has some important works on it as well, which adds to its decoration. There have been various stories, and a famous legend is that Giotto died from the pain he suffered whilst constructing the tower. The tower, holding tons of medieval knowledge, is a beauty inside out and should be on your list. And that's it for today, folks. Those were the top 5 places you should visit while in Florence. Comment down below and let us know which locations have stunned you the most. Stay tuned for more interesting videos. Till then, goodbye.